Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where I've been recording a lot of these back to back, so I'm a little bit tired and loopy. It's okay, I've got my tea. But more importantly than tea, I have Transformers Adventure TAV-54 Scorponok, which is the Takara release of Robots in Disguise Scorponok, which, if you remember, you can check it out up there. I actually like that figure quite a bit, but got rid of it a while back and kind of was missing it. Then saw this version and was like, I'm going to get that version instead. So yeah, got it off eBay for I think around $20, which is not bad, I don't think. And it's Scorponok. It's the same exact figure, like mechanically, molding-wise, as RID Scorponok, but as is usually the case with Takara releases, it's a completely different color scheme, different paint scheme, and in my mind, a superior paint scheme. It's the same kind of Robo-Scorpion that he was before, with these interesting pincers, but like these kind of feel a bit more akin to actual scorpion claws than what we sometimes see with other Scorponok figures, where they're more like crab claws. Because scorpion claws, from what I understand, from what I can remember, and it could be dependent on the species of scorpion, but I feel like scorpion claws typically are like fatter towards the this section, and then like the actual pincers themselves are actually rather tiny and narrow. The face is definitely not what a scorpion face looks like, but it's a Robo-Scorpion. I appreciate the fact that they gave him an opening mouth with his little whatever those things in Ninja Turtles were called, mousers. Those kind of jaws, but he also has the mandibles, and he's got the 4 eyes that are nicely painted red. And then they did this really nice kind of metallic-y brown for the primary sections of the scorpion carapace, which I do think are pretty cool, like the chunky claws all along the back here and the top of the head. It's a nice color. And they also used gold for the arms, joints, whatever you want to call them. And then the back of the tail here. And I like how they'd use 2 colors for the tail, too, where you've got the accents in gold going all the way up, but then the underside of it is this green color. And then along the top, like you've kind of got this strip of green, like it's hollow, yeah, but it's like this strip of green going all the way up, and it continues around the top, and then the lines of gold go all the way around the sides, all the way up to the stinger there. And he has the little stinger that doesn't reach forward enough to really work as a scorpion stinger, but it's okay. I won't hold it against him. The regular RID version of the figure had the same issue. I also like the kind of not quite pink, not quite red, neon-ish colors that they used for sort of like light highlights almost. It may not be the case, but these feel like they're supposed to be glowing lights, and that totally works. It looks particularly good on the brown because you've got that darker and lighter color contrast, but it still works on the gold too. And the green, it's a little bit weird, but at the same time, I actually do kind of like it. That metallic green does kind of work with the gold and the brown, and the way the color is split, I kind of like it, how it looks like there's this, armored body, like this armor kind of going along the back there, and then these are like the more fleshy bits. And then on the other side, you got some folded up robot junk. Yeah, it's cool. And I like the little details, like the molded robotic details on the little scorpion legs and stuff. It's neat. It's the same as regular old RID Scorponok. He's a fun little scorpion figure, and he totally looks the part of a little monstrous robot scorpion. And that is very, very fun. It's just in this case, I also feel like the color scheme works a little bit more in his favor. All right, let's get those claws down so we can see his face and do some size comparisons. Here he is with a standard deluxe, and I definitely, like if I were driving this car, I would not want to risk running into that scorpion, but, the car is definitely bigger than the scorpion. Definitely bulkier. Here is Scorponok with the duck tank. And that is gonna do it, so we're just gonna skip right ahead to that robot mode. And there we have Transformers Adventure TAV-54 Scorponok in robot mode, and this looks fantastic. I mean, the original RID version of Scorponok looked great on its own, but I really, really dig the color scheme here, even more than that. But I always really like the design of this. It's such an interesting approach to a Scorponok, or really any robot that turns into a bug. Just adjusting his center of gravity. It's not that he has trouble balancing, he's actually quite sturdy. It's just because of the slender double-hinged legs, just kind of want to make sure that his feet are like more under him than either slightly in front of or slightly behind him. But anyway, this looks great. The only thing that I don't like about this is the freaking QR code sticker on the chest there, which I really should set about getting rid of. But other than that, it's such a cool idea. I really like how the scorpion claws shift up and become his shoulders, or shoulder pads. It's weird, and it's a little unwieldy with them kind of flopping around as you're transforming him, but it's not that, it's not that bad, and it ends up working really well. They hold in place just fine for the scorpion mode, and they're nice and solid here. They're actually what keep the torso together, so it actually works out really well. And now we've gone from something that I feel like the scorpion mode felt predominantly like brown with gold. Like it was predominantly brown, green was kind of a secondary color, and then gold was like the gold and red was more of an accent. Here, it kind of feels like things have flipped around a little bit, where there's a little bit more of an even balance between the green and the brown, and in some cases it almost seems like there's more green, so it's sort of like primarily green, secondary color is brown, and then you still have plenty of gold accents and some red accents as well, and then like a little bit of gray in the thighs and feet there. The gray in the thighs and feet does stand out a little bit, but it's not too bad, and really I think the gray on the feet is totally fine. It's more just that gray does not appear anywhere else in the upper body. Okay, you can kind of argue that you see it in like the tucked away scorpion head behind his robot head, but I don't really count that because that's just a piece of plastic that's rotated in. That's not really a robot mode detail as intended. But still, the colors here are great. I mean, it's the same exact design as RID Scorponok, but the colors are really, really nice, and you've got more of that red in there, and it's so good. As I said, the design itself, the way that he transforms is really cool, but like the silhouette of this robot mode is also great, because it's not, like, it's humanoid-ish, but it's so interesting in how you've got these really slender, backwards-kneed legs that kind of come off as insectoid, even though he's not in his bug mode. They're nice and adjustable, so you could make him really tall. You can bring them down all the way so that he's a little bit more short. And I feel like I need to tighten those hips a little bit. You can see that you've got some brown and gold going on in the shins there, but then the knee strut things are like a dark green. And then you've got some green and gold kind of sprinkled throughout the body here. Gold with some green on the arms, dark brown for the shoulder pads. It's really good stuff. And again, I just love the detailing, and I love how they kind of changed the deco around here. We've got these gold bits for the arms kind of carrying down through this line on the forearms there, and also does that on the back side or underside, however you want to look at it. I like the separation here between the brown and the gold. I like the just color separation going on here with like the gold in the midriff section and a little bit in the shoulders there, which should, would have been nice if it carried over to these elements on the actual shoulder pads, but it only goes like that far, and it's fine. You do have options too in terms of the scorpion tail. Like the legs are kind of, they just fold back there, but that works. You can't tuck them around like he's giving himself a hug. But you can mess with the tail some. You can angle it on that ball joint, have it kind of come around. Personally, I think it does look cool, and I like that you can have the tail just kind of hanging out, but personally, I typically will just bring that tip over the back there and kind of nestle it into that crevice so that it just cleans him up a bit. Gives a bit of a bulge behind the head, but I don't care. I'm not entirely sure how much of this I said for the RID Scorponok video, because I recorded that. I don't want to look up how long ago that was, but it's got to be at least a year or two. This is very cool. And all things considered, surprisingly clean. Like, he's got these weird kind of shoulder pylon engine things like something out of an anime, which is kind of neat. And then he's got like some legs, but the legs do a pretty good job of staying out of the way, and a tail, but the tail is arguably part of the robot mode anyway. So like surprisingly not much in the way of kibble on this guy. Why aren't you pegging in all the way? One sec. Alright, I don't really know what's going on there, but whatever. It's fine. So yeah, it's a very, very cool shape, very cool color layout. I really, like, as I said many times at this point, RID Scorponok is a very cool figure on his own, but like this color scheme, this color pattern works even better for me. I'm really, really glad I managed to get this guy. And the head is also cool. I like how it comes forward and it still allows you for some up and down, a little bit of turning left and right, as well as lots and lots of twisting. But I like how it comes forward and gives him kind of like a hunch, which adds to that bestial look. And the head itself also looks kind of monstrous and bug-like, where he's got like, it kind of looks like he's wearing a helmet with a little chin strap, but then you've got like mandibles on the sides, an obvious toothed, beaked, whatever-y mouth there, little tiny beady red eyes. I like how the head is kind of like squished as opposed to like a more rounded shape. It just makes it, again, it kind of helps to push it into that not really human or humanoid look. And he even has little tiny glowy details on the top of his head, which is cool, but that probably needed a second pass because those are really, really dim. They just don't stand out as well as these. But I appreciate that the details are there. And again, it's a very cool look. This is not the Scorponok of old, who was like an enormous base thing and also a headmaster, but this is still really cool. I liked this figure just fine before, but with this color scheme, it is definitely high on my list of awesome. Anyway, let's adjust this so we can do size comparisons. Here he is with a standard deluxe, and depending on how you work those knees, he's either a bit shorter or taller than a standard deluxe, but overall, I mean, he's definitely got less bulk. But even though he's got less bulk and is technically shorter, he doesn't really waste any of his kibble. Arguably, maybe the legs, but again, they get out of the way really nicely. And I like how he's all spindly and creepy. It's really neat. And here he is with the duck tank. So that is going to do it for Transformers Adventure TAV-54 Scorponok. He is very cool. I really, really like this guy. I've said it already, but I do. I do have his sword accessory. It's the exact same one that came with RID Scorponok and RID Paralon, which I also had. You can check that out if you want. It's basically the same thing, but purple and with the Beast Wars Scorponok head, I believe. And just for the heck of it, here you can see, there's the sword. Same sword. It's like this sort of weird, chitinous, segmented looking thing it's cool. I like it as an accessory, and it kind of works as a way to kind of extend the stinger in Scorpion mode, but it's the toy, the figure itself, that really sells it. But I feel like I've rambled on enough about this guy because I've said all I need to say multiple times. So what do you all think of Transformers Adventure TAV-54 Scorponok? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. And while you're at it, also feel free to like, subscribe, or if you're feeling generous, you could buy me a coffee. Any of those things would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.